Well, it is a lovely sunny day, and I am reading another bit from A Brush with Paradise. So this is Chapter 3, The Mansion. There was a wonderful smell of wood. I wonder if it was cedar. I wasn't sure. We climbed the double width staircase, and Lucia pointed out a room for me. Then they both walked on further along the corridor. Lizzie, your room is ready as usual. If there's anything you want, just ask. She turned with a flourish, looked back at me with some distaste, and walked off. The paintings that hung on the landing were quite garish, considering how cool the mansion appeared. What with those wooden panels everywhere and massive Murano glass chandeliers hung from every ceiling, my mind tried to calculate how much the hand-blown pieces had cost. I estimated several thousands. My room was large, with beautifully draped curtains which were folded back and held by silk ties. The throw matched the decor, and the cotton sheets looked very expensive. You could tell that Angus must have paid an incredible amount of money to a top interior designer. There was a large whirring fan on the ceiling, and the vista looked out over the main driveway while all the palms gently swayed in the breeze, and that had a peaceful, calming effect. Slightly to the left, I noticed the sea. It was so different to back home. I could have easily gotten used to that view, honest. Drinks on the patio in 40 minutes, casual dress optional, Lucia called out. I looked at my well-packed bag and thought about how Lizzie managed to do all that packing and everything behind my back without my knowledge. Were us menfolk really so naive, or was it just me? Well, who cared? I was not complaining in the slightest. It didn't take long to throw my stuff in the cupboard, nor decide which new shirt to wear for the occasion. I leapt onto the bed, placed my hands behind my head, and laughed out loud. Even the bed was superbly comfy. 38 minutes later, I emerged dressed to impress. For who? I didn't know, but impress I would. I heard Lizzie laughing downstairs as I followed the sound of the merriment. There were 3 women, sat down, chattering away, and the very tall gent who sported lime green shorts and wandered around with a sunset-coloured drink in his hand. Well, it's sundown time somewhere in the world, he laughed, and then raised his glass to nobody in particular. Cheers, I replied, and grabbed a Banks's bottle from the ice bucket. The thirst-quenching cold beer would do the trick, as it was still very warm outside. I was not often a beer drinker. I was more into wine in my gallery days. Well, every day really, including painting outdoors in sunny England as the artist. It helped oil the industry and made the paint flow freely from mind to brush to paper. Well, at least that was my excuse. Good evening. My name is Reginald Eichendorff. It's good to meet you, and how do you know Miss Lizzie? Greeted Mr. Lime Green Shorts man in a clipped accent. Oh, I bet I know where your attire comes from. What a cool place, eh? And that Stefan chap. Oh, he's on another level, like his shack. I shook Reggie's hand firmly. He looked at me with a puzzled expression. Who is Stefan? My clothes are handmade in Germany. The best fitting clothes come from there, you know. Oh, actually, I thought the Italians had the edge over clothes and design, till I walked into Stefan's emporium. Nein, German sewing skills are the most far superior in the world. Well, that shut me up. Had he never heard of Giorgio Armani? I changed tack. Your name sounds very familiar. Are you related to the poet Joseph Freer von Weidenhof by any chance? That stopped him in his tracks. For sure, I am distinctly related to the great romantic poet. You have heard of him. Hasn't anyone? Correction, hasn't everyone? He was a masterful writer. I dabble occasionally in the world of poetry and poets, you know. I see words in my paintings and I try to capture the essence of what the landscape or whatever it is trying to say. Poetry helps considerably with channeling my thoughts. I moved away as I knew I could go no further with the German chap. Besides, I hated his shorts. What a vile green. The man had no taste. One of the women tapped me on my arm. Young man, we hear you're a painter. What do you paint? Madam, I am considered an artist, and I paint with brushes and my imagination, mainly in watercolours, but I dabble in oils. Oh, that's a mighty shame, she said, because we need a painter and decorator for our new residence further round the bay. Oh, well, never mind. Touché, I thought. Lizzie sauntered up to me. I want to introduce you to my aunt. She's not my real aunt, although she does spend more time here than in her own place, more part of the fixtures and fittings. Hi, Aunt Marge. Let me introduce you to my latest project. Marge was a superbly dressed, mature woman and manicured to perfection. She had overly dyed blonde hair set in classic 60s beehive style. Marge stood up, eyed me up and down. She even looked at my teeth. Good pedigree, has he? They both chuckled. Aunt Marge owns a stud farm, Lizzie explained, then continued, and it seemed most appropriate in Aunt Marge's opinion to eye up all members of the male species as potentials. And I thought that I had some crazy customers. Mind you, she was rather well blessed with a large bust, though tastefully concealed in her attire, but only just. How do you do? I'm not a gambling man, and I don't like the smell of horses, near or far away, I said. Darling, we all have a price on our head. Some are better than others, trust me. Do come and tell me all about yourself and what your intentions with my Lizzie are. She patted the chair beside her. Sit! On second thoughts, after a while, Aunt Marge was a hoot. She'd even been round the block several times and lived each day. I felt almost in awe of her. She loved to talk about herself and eventually asked me about Lizzie. I described my life as a gallery owner, by my then turning to art and living the life as an artist. Aunt Marge appeared interested, up to a point. So, would you like to paint some of my beauties? I blushed and refrained from saying anything. Not these, my dear, my horses. She squeezed her cleavage together with her arms and laughed. Naughty boy. Stubbs was a great equine painter. Sadly, I am not. More landscape and semi-abstract. Well, naive, really. I tried to justify myself. Naive, she said. I bet you're not naive, she winked. So what's with Lizzie and you, if you don't mind me prodding? Lizzie butted in. Stop chatting him up, Aunt. She wiggled her finger at Aunt Marge. Darling, at my age I live in hope. She took a gulp of her drink, which was most unladylike. Aunt Marge tapped my arm. She's a dark horse, you know. Takes a strong man to capture my Lizzie. Very strong man. What's more, Lizzie gets whatever she wants, takes no prisoners. Isn't that so, darling? Aunt Marge smiled at Lizzie, then she looked back at me and walked off indoors. Blimey, I'm glad she's not your real aunt. Bet she has an entourage of suitors knocking at her stable doors. Does she ever take no for an answer? Lizzie grabbed my arm. You're best to leave Aunt Marge well alone. Have you heard of what black widows do after mating? Enough. Come with me now. End of the chapter. To be continued. Till next time, follow me, Lee Benson, here on TikTok, whatever it is, and all the other social medias. So until the next time, ta-ra bit.